gender equality. Currently it reads gender equality, but it should be gender equality. On page 5 of the amended petition, paragraph 23, which was ex paragraph 19, should read the second respondent and not the first respondent. It is talking about the anti-FGM board, which is the second respondent. Likewise, on page 8, paragraph 49D, should also read second respondent and not first respondent. On page 9, under the relief sought, D, should also read second respondent instead of first respondent. And in addition, Your Honours, I have 2 additional grounds for objecting which have come out of all the submissions from the interested parties and the amicus curiae. After going through all their documents, I have 2 others. And so I would like to go through the key grounds for my objection.
Just a minute. Mwangi and your team, who is interpreting? One of you has to interpret. I told you the gentleman there with the... And remember, Daktari, that you had 15 minutes. So if you could do it in a summary form, because you will also have to speak a lot when you are cross-examined by all these people, you'll bring out your case more. Okay.
Yes, Your Honours, but I also beg that you, normally I don't have that experience of the speed or how to...
No, just a summary, so that you're not giving us the entire...
Okay.
Because you already have given it to us in writing.
Okay. Yeah. So, first of all, the Impunity Act contravenes and violates various articles of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, as well as, according to me, the spirit of the Bill of Rights. Specifically, we have Articles 19, 27, 32, and 44, which are listed on the petition. Article 43 is mentioned within the petition. So that is the first part, that it contravenes and actually violates some of them. The second is that is on the grounds of denigration of the local terms for the cultural practice of female genital surgeries. We call them circumcision. And I feel that the term mutilation is actually malicious and misrepresents the practice in the context of in our understanding, in the cultural context of our understanding. Number 3 is that the Impunity Act contains an outright falsehood and misleading suppositions pertaining to the medical practices, principles, and ethics. Then the 2 additional ones, after going through all the submissions from the interested parties and the amici curiae, is that the Impunity Act was not even legislated as provided for under the Constitution of Kenya 2010, as they disregarded the critical aspect of public participation, as stipulated by Articles 118B and 174 C, D, and E of the Constitution.
I must object to that, because the issue of public participation was never raised by the petitioner in any of her documents. She's actually introducing new facts that she's attaching to her petition, and without having given us the benefit of being able to respond to the issue of public participation.
Your Honor, with your permission, the 7th interested party identified with that sentiment. The issue of public participation is very heavy. It is not clear. We are it's coming now.
Because she has specified that this came out of the responses you gave.
It did.
Do you remember from whose...
Especially from FIDA. FIDA is something to see. and Kewapa. The sixth interested party, their submissions, and I can show you where that comes out.
Yes.
And also from the third interested party, from what they submitted, it came out clearly that there was no public participation done, or a shamble of a public participation done.
I think let her. So that's what they were saying, or you are saying that there was a shamble of public?
There was a shamble of public participation. Yes.
Let her go on. So that they can cross-examine. No, I think let her go on with her, because she was just setting out what her grounds are. You can cross-examine on it, and if you need time to go and do anything more than what you have already done, you can make that application later on. If it was not, because what they are saying is that you didn't plead it. You didn't
for sure,
plead it.
I admit.
Yes.
I didn't plead it because that I was not aware of that. But going through their
And you
submissions,
see,
it
in
has become
court-
evident.
In court, you're actually bound by your pleadings.
Yes, yes.
So you don't now plead something else, then you remember something on the way here, then you come and speak on that one.
Yes, Your Honor, and in fact, this is why I have taken the trouble to ask for this. I have actually asked whether I can talk about these additional grounds because they have come out of their submissions.
But that you can do in your submissions.
Yes.
You can actually do in your submissions, but not as your evidence because you didn't plead it.
Yes, yes, yes. So the last one is also that there is a type 4 FGM which is listed by the World Health Organization.
The one, just repeat that, please. The fourth one you're saying
in
is?
the Act. The Act lists 3 types of FGMs which have been criminalized. There's A, B, and C. There is A, B, and C on the first page of the Act. I don't know how to say they have described it. But according to WHO, there are 4 types. So obviously type 4 was not criminalized.
With all due respect,
Please can I finish? Please can I finish where I'm going with this?
No, you see, the problem is that if you bring in things you didn't plead, they will keep rising up.
Yeah, but can I just finish this? Then she can condemn it because
What is the
what
problem?
my issue is that
Just a minute.
Huh?
What's the problem?
Your Ladyship, the petitioner has brought to court the Prohibition of Female Genital Mutilation Act,
Yes.
which only recognizes 3 types of FGM. She's attempting to litigate on the WHO standards and WHO categorization of FGM, which is not within the Act, for which we have been brought to court today. It is not proper for her to do that, Your Ladyship. It is not pleaded in her document.
All right.
Your Honor,
In our
I
act,
am
it's
not.
there.
That's not what I'm aiming to do at all. All I'm aiming to point out is that what came out of the submissions of the interested parties is that in all their training materials and everything that they are teaching the public, they are including type 4 as something which is criminalized. But it is not criminalized in the Act.
But is that part of your pleading? Is it part of your pleading?
It isn't part of my pleading.
You see, that's what I started off by telling you, that in court, you only get what you prayed for. And that is what you have pleaded. You come and ask for one thing, then you don't expand it when you're now standing there.
Okay.
So because you have given grounds that are very, very visible, which can be seen, then now you're supposed to speak to those grounds. So that because that's what they are prepared for. That's what you said that was done wrong. So that's what they are prepared for. Otherwise, we have to adjourn, then go and give them permission to start again filing other documents. Then we'll be here until the end of next year.
Okay. Okay, so I will leave those and I will concentrate on the first 3.
Yes.
The first 3 that it violates Articles 19, 27, 32, 43, and 44. That it denigrates the local term for female circumcision, and the Act contains falsehoods and leading suppositions pertaining to medical principles and ethics.
Your Honor, with your kind permission,
Yes.
I have just heard that there is a conversation that is going to flow around Article 43 of the Constitution. I must say, I'm not strict. She does not plead, she's not seeking anything around 43.
I am.
So again, the prayers don't have 43. Not plead.
I have. Article 19, which is the first right under the Bill of Rights, is among other things, seeks to preserve and protect the dignity of individuals and communities. Article 28 specifically upholds the inherent dignity of every person and the right to have that dignity respected and protected. But nowhere within the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, does it define or prescribe what should dignify an individual or a community. So it's largely left to citizens to determine what can, will, or should dignify them. So I feel that if an adult woman feels that she would be dignified by following the culture of her community, then this should be respected and protected as it's assured by the supreme law. If an adult woman would like to celebrate her circumcision as a dignifying transition in her life, this is guaranteed by Articles 27 and 32 of the Supreme Law. And any limitation on this right and fundamental freedom should be guided by Article 24, so that the limitation is reasonable and justifiable and shall not derogate from the core of its essential content or the right and freedom. That to me, prohibition is not the same as a limitation. A limitation is a restriction or a constriction of the space under which something can take place. A prohibition is a total ban. Generally, it refers to a total ban without any compromise. And it's actually to outlaw or to abolish an entity in its entirety without any ifs or buts. And here I would like the court to take notice that culture has been protected in the Constitution. It's been protected severally in the Constitution, starting from the preamble, where we say that we are proud of our ethnic and cultural diversity. Maybe let me read it properly. We are proud of our ethnic, cultural, and religious diversity and determined to live in peace and unity as one indivisible sovereign nation. And then again, under national values and principles of governance, culture is given a whole article to itself, meaning that it has some significant or special recognition under our national values and principles of governance. Article 11, 1 and 2 says that the Constitution recognizes culture as the foundation of the nation and as the cumulative civilization of the Kenyan people and nation. And the state shall promote all forms of national and cultural expression through literature and the arts, traditional celebrations, science, communication, and so on. Article 27 takes it further, giving us several protections. So to me, culture, I feel, has been elevated to even more than religion in terms of protection. And therefore, anything that seeks to control or so with culture should really be just limited to controlling maybe the excesses or controlling abuse of culture. And you can never come to a time where you try and actually abolish a culture. In abolishing a culture, it gives the impression that that there are superior and inferior cultures in the country. And this is really not what the spirit of the Constitution was about. Even if we're not proud of some of our cultures, the only thing that we can do is to limit it so that we prevent excesses or we prevent prejudice to people who would not want to follow it completely, and or we prevent any abuse of the culture. So in terms of limiting and controlling for maybe what might be perceived as harm, potential or actual harm in the practice of female circumcision, I really feel that what should have happened is that a law should have been made to control these excesses maybe of female circumcision, somewhat in similarity to the other control acts that we have, like the Tobacco Control Act, the Alcohol Drinks Control Act, which do not derogate from the core and essential content of the freedom of belief and expression, and they do not prevent people from enjoying their individual rights and fundamental freedoms. The Prohibition of FGM Act does not do this. It is a complete abolition. I cannot do it here, I cannot do it in my home, I cannot do it in a hospital, I cannot do it in the next county, I cannot do it outside the country, I can not do it in the sky, under the water, and there's nowhere I'm allowed to do it at all. For me, this is a complete violation of the Constitution. The right and the right to practice female circumcision by adult women in Kenya was not premised on limitations on or around the circumstances under which it can be practiced. Like, you could have had limitations of where you can do it, when you can do it, who can do it for you, and how. Those things could have been controlled for, such that you have in a time that it's restricted to a particular period, maybe certain months of the year, that's the only time you can do it. It can only be done by certain professionals, those are the only people who are allowed to do it. A certain age group, it's only, after 18 years that you're allowed to do it. In those ways, would have seen that the state is interested in limiting our access to the practice, but not completely prohibiting our right to practice our culture. So to me, reasonable and justifiable limitations in an open and democratic society, as stipulated in Article 24, should have been ones that considered maybe limiting the harm or potential harm that might happen from the practice of female circumcision, as well as upholding the right of adults to enjoy their culture. We could have restricted it to qualified medical practitioners or certified traditional circumcisers. That's in the.
If you don't repeat, then you will at least be within your time.
Okay.
Because
okay.
You have already told us what limitations you envisage. So
Yes.
if you don't repeat, we'll go faster.
Okay.
Because I'm seeing as if we are almost at the end of your time.
Oh, but Madam, Your Honor, I've waited for 2 years to say something.
No, it's okay. I'm just giving you advice that if you don't repeat, you'll go faster. Because if you repeat, we don't have to write it 3 times.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, discussing about the denigration of the term. The term mutilation is generally offensive to the practitioners and any of us who hold the cultural practice to heart and value it. it is not even equivalent to our local terms for what we call the practice in our local languages. Mutilation presupposes malice. In the way that we practice mutilation, even if now this, I'm appealing against the jailing of adult women who I feel have got a right to consent. But even outside that, how it was practiced traditionally, women who took their daughters for circumcision were not taking them there to destroy them. And afterwards, they would celebrate their transition into adulthood, because for most of our communities it is a rite of passage. And there is no way that that child was thrown away or treated maliciously afterwards. They were made into, it was believed that they are now a respected member of society. So to use a word which in our context suggests that it is a malicious thing, that we are going intentionally damaging our females, to me was very wrong. And we need some relief from that. We have later, subsequently, in another act which was made for control of our, I don't know where I put it, of our culture, whatever, we are told that we should not, I don't know where I've left that act, but we should respect the terms that we use for cultural practices and not denigrate them like that. So I have so I feel that this is a misrepresentation, and again it is a lack of respect. And as Article 27 also tells us that we should have and Article 44, so that we use the language. Every person has, Article 44.1, every person has the right to use the language and to participate in the cultural life of a person's choice. So if we have a right to use of the language of our choice, it should have been considered, so that even if you're talking about, and the preferred name that we use commonly among all of us is circumcision, that word should have been considered, because Article 44 says that we have a right to use the language of our choice, and not one which is imposed on us by other people. Further to that, there has been a lot of denigration, using a lot of insulting words when making reference to the culture of female circumcision. We have words used against backward, barbaric, brutal, cruel, degrading, so many, demeaning, demonic, draconian, evil, ignorant, inhuman, madness, outdated, primitive, punishment, retrogressive, satanic, torture. All these we have picked up over the time. So that the second respondent has never asked anybody to tone down on the use of some of these words which are insultive to the practitioners of female circumcision. So one of the things that I have against the anti-FGM board is also, I mean the second respondent, is that they have continued to preside over the derogation of our beliefs and opinions as individuals, those of us who value it. They have never been heard or seen or to caution the media or to caution anybody from referring to female circumcision using these terms. So for me, the board has actually condoned the use of words which denigrate our culture. And this is, to me, lacking in giving respect. 27, sorry. the state shall not, in 27.4, shall not discriminate directly or indirectly against any person on any ground, including their race, their sex, pregnancy, but there is their culture, dress, and language or birth. So this is completely contravening Article 27.4 by discriminating against this particular culture and going forward to give it, to denigrate it in whichever way that is possible. Your Honors, what I believe is that this denigration goes on, can be extended to the tribes or the people who practice this thing, because you cannot separate an act from the actor. If somebody steals, they're a thief. If I commit a barbaric act, I'm a barbaric person, I'm a barbarian. So by doing this, by continuously insulting the practice, you end up insulting the practitioners. And this is nowhere, this is complete violation of the spirit of the Constitution. If we are not equal, and if we do not respect one another, how can that be? I know now, I can almost say from the documents and from the researches and from the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey, I can now automatically categorize our Kenyan tribes into those which are the most barbaric and the ones which are the most sophisticated at the bottom. The ones which never did any circumcision, there are 5 tribes we have in our country. Those must be the most sophisticated or forward of this country. And the ones who are doing a lot of circumcision, they're the most primitive, barbaric, and whatever. So we need protection from things like that, because that is not bringing cohesiveness to the country, and to me that is hate speech, total hate speech. Then I think I would like to talk to the third one, which was that the Act contains outright falsehoods and misleading suppositions pertaining to medical principles and ethics. The Act talks about, have I left it? I don't know where I've left it. It talks about yeah, thank you. Thank you. Number 19, I think it is. I just wanted to be sure. Under the offenses, in the Act number 19, Section 3, subsection A. It says, no offense under subsection 1 is committed by an approved person who performs a surgical operation on another person which is necessary for that other person's physical or mental health. And here, Your Honors, I want to say that there is no surgery which is done on the female genitals to treat a health problem. Never has been, and I don't think there ever will be. That a person is suffering from some mental health condition and that a doctor goes down to her genitals to do some operation there, some tweaking to help cure her mental health condition. That doesn't exist. I'm a medical doctor. I know I've got 31 years experience, and this has never come up in our training or in practice. Secondly, the second respondent had a duty of care to come and, as part of their mandate, because their mandate is very clear under the functions of the board, Section 5D. Section 5B and D. They are to advise the government on matters relating to female genital mutilation and implementation of the Act. And in D, they are to provide technical and other support to institutions, agencies, and other bodies engaged in the programs aimed at eradication of female genital mutilation. The board should have told us, institutions, medical professionals, and all others who are involved in this fight to control the excesses of female circumcision. Which is this health problem that can be treated with genital surgery? Which is this genital surgery? There are so many types of genital surgeries. Which is this particular one that you do and it helps to treat cure, I don't know whether it's depression that is cured by genital surgery or you know, psychosis, we have no idea. This is an outright lie. It does not exist. The second one on that about the first part of the Act, it talks about under 2, under C, female genital mutilation C, that it does not include a sexual reassignment procedure or a medical procedure which has genuine therapeutic purpose. Now, I'm raising this part up as part of the falsehoods, misleading suppositions pertaining to medical principles and ethics. Your Honors, this law implies that if any surgical procedure done on female genitals which has got no medical purpose is unlawful, or is actually illegal, or is something unethical. And I want to say that there is nothing unethical in medicine about female genital surgeries. We have a whole profession within the medical specialty called the plastic and reconstructive surgery. Under plastic surgery, you can do very many surgical procedures for non-medical reasons. It is accepted. We do it for cosmetic reasons. Cosmetic reasons are non-medical reasons. They are ethical. They are registered by the board, the Medical Practitioners and Dentists Board. They are regulated by the Medical Practitioner and Dentist Board. The practitioners are licensed by the Medical Practitioners and Dentist Board. The operations that they do are openly advertised in the media because they are licensed and because they are authorized by the Medical Practitioners and Dentist Board. Some of them I have put them in this bundle of things so that you can see. They even have pricing. We're even shown how much each of these operations cost. They're called operations like labiaplasty, genital rejuvenation, labia what? They're all here. They are medically ethical.
I must object. Again, she has not pleaded them, Your Ladyship, and she is walking again right into the WHO categorization of FGM, which is not a subject of this Act.
I have pleaded them. I have pleaded. Please, let's go to my petition. Under section 13 of my petition, the amended petition, female circumcision or genital surgery is never used to treat mental health, and there is absolutely no correlation between mental health and genital surgery in women or men. This is an outright lie because you cannot mutilate in order to cure.
The ladyship, I think we can take cognizance of the fact that the issues to which she was referring to are not within her petition.
Okay.
Witness, that's why we are saying that since you've given us an entire document, please don't rehash all of it. Because you are way over the time we have given you, and you are just adding a little time so that you don't feel like you are shut out. But you're going deep into it, and yet we will still have to read these documents.
Okay, okay. Okay, sorry, I think I'm through. Okay, I think maybe then let me stop. I think let me stop there. Excuse me. Thank you.
Are you able to say the page, the one that you are referring to, the last statement that council is objecting to? Are you able to locate it so that you can just tell us which page? Because we have to read all of it.
Sorry, I think I've realized that that was an answer to one of the submissions of the petitioners. Yeah.
We'll still read all your documents.
Yeah.
If it's in there, we'll find it.
Yes, it's in one of the responses to the interested parties. Can I? Oh, okay.
If we can accommodate that, but she will still have to make her application and she will also have to. So we can go on with the cross-examination. We start with the respondents.
With 31 years of experience working for the Ministry of Health, is that correct? And in what field or area of medicine are you trained in specifically?
Okay. Do I stand?
Sorry, you have said you're asking for two respondents?
Yes, the ladyship, the first and the second.
Okay, so we'll add you a little bit of time because of the second. Okay, this one.
Sorry, do I stand or do you
If
sit?
you're tired, you can sit. If you want to stand, that's still also okay.
Okay, fine. Yes. Well, first of all, of course, you train as a general medical doctor, but I have trained also as a public health in public health, so public health specialist. Yeah.
And what exactly does your work as a public health specialist involve?
It involves educating people on how to prevent illnesses or prevent diseases, as well as designing programs and to help prevent illnesses and promote health, and also making policies around issues like that. Yeah.
How are you trained?
Undergraduate, I was trained in Andhra Medical College in India, and postgraduate at the University of Nairobi School of Public Health.
And at which of these institutions were you trained in how to perform FGM?
None of them. We're not taught how to circumcise women. There is no teaching on how to mutilate people ever in medicine. Medicine is not about mutilation.
You have told this court that there are no instances where FGM is performed in order to cure a mental illness. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you a mental health specialist?
No, I am not a mental health specialist.
Therefore, would it be correct to say that you cannot authoritatively speak to treatment of mental illness?
I can. As a general practitioner, we are taught basics. And there is no specialization of mental genital surgery in medicine.
And
that I know.
Yes. And it is your testimony that you are actually never taught how to perform FGM.
Nobody in the country is taught how to mutilate.
Not even in the institution where you did your undergraduate studies.
Medicine does not teach mutilation. You never teach mutilation. You teach surgery, you teach excisions, but never mutilate. Mutilation, sorry, Your Honors, is only in those countries where they have laws that if you steal, your hand is chopped off or what, you're allowed to mutilate a hand. But in general medicine, we never teach how to mutilate people.
Very well. Now, in your practice, your 31 years of practice under the Ministry of Health, where did you work?
I have worked at Kenyatta National Hospital. I have done short locums in private hospitals. I have worked in Machakos General Hospital. I have worked in administration.
That is sufficient. And in any of these roles or in any of these places where you worked, did you carry out the work of an OBGYN?
Yes.
You did. So you are a trained and practicing OBGYN?
I was a trained medical officer to conduct obstetric operations like cesarean sections and excision of cysts, genital cysts, and so we are taught how to do the principles of obstetric surgery and gynecological surgery.
All right. Dr. Kamau, you have brought this petition. Allow me to ask you one more question. Is there a speciality in the medical profession of an OBGYN?
Yes, that exists.
And what work would they typically do?
They do a lot of work.
With regard to female genital issues.
Oh, the OBGYNs, are you asking just in Kenya or even internationally?
Well, I'm asking because you have said you're a public health specialist.
Yes.
And you have outlined for this court
Yes.
what kind of work you do as a public health specialist.
Yes.
I'm asking, OBGYNs, they exist as a specialty,
Yes.
is that not so?
Yes.
What kind of work can you expect to do as an OBGYN?
Yes. An OBGYN can do, they look after pregnancy issues, they look after women's issues, and those women's issues can be curative, preventive, and they can be cosmetic. Yes. They also do cosmetic genital surgeries.
That's
Yes.
perfectly in order.
Yes.
Now, does someone have to go to school to become an OBGYN? Is there a specific training that they go through?
Yes, if you want to specialize in OBGYN, but if you don't want to, you can be a general medical officer and conduct cesarean sections and do genital operations as a general medical officer.
Very
Yes,
well. Thank you.
as a general practitioner.
Now, you have told this court that you have brought this petition on behalf of women. Which women?
The women who are being jailed because they have chosen to practice female circumcision.
Are any of those women in court today?
No, they're not in court.
Have you produced any documentation on their behalf?
No, I haven't. I'm guided by Article 20. Let me just say. Give me a minute. I'm guided by Article 22, 2B, which says, a person acting as a member of or in the interest of a group or class of persons, and C, a person acting in public interest.
Very well.
Yes.
So, have you produced any documents before this court by any of these women who you purport to represent, stating that they wish for these remedies which you have sought from the court?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's enough. Thank you.
In public interest, you don't have to.
That is fine. Have you indicated that your petition is in public interest?
Well, not specifically,
All right.
but
Thank you. Now, you have pleaded in your petition that you have brought this petition with respect to women from FGM practicing communities. Is that correct?
yes.
Which communities are these that you bring your petition on behalf of?
I have listed there about 71.
Kindly refer us to the document.
Okay, this document?
Okay.
Sorry, the ones in colorful green and whatever. Can you see this?
Is there a page or a marker? to
It's
which
page
the court
1.
can
It's
identify?
listed as page 1.
Yes.
Page 1 to up to 3. And on those, you want me to name them specifically?
Well, that is enough. Thank you.
Yes, they're there. They're listed.
Dr. Kamau, is it your contention that there are women who want to practice FGM?
Yes.
Where are those women?
They're within these communities here, listed
Have you
here.
brought any of them before this court?
No, I have not.
May I then put it to you that there are no women from FGM practicing communities who wish to continue to practice FGM?
No, I think that would be false.
Have you produced any evidence to this court that shows that there are women who want to carry out FGM?
Yes, in this bundle here, there are cuttings from the press where. Sorry. In this document, there are women who have, well, it's because they're media reports. I'm relying mainly on media reports. Women have said that they asked for it.
Directly,
Okay.
where the women have said, I want to have FGM practiced on me.
They don't want FGM. They want female circumcision. They want female circumcision. So.
Dr. Kamau, that's fine. We'll move on from there. Dr. Kamau?
Yes, yes.
We can move on from that question.
Okay.
Are you aware that majority of the cases of FGM in this country are performed on girls under the age of 18?
Yes, I'm aware.
Are you aware that the constitution of this country, while protects the right to culture,
Yes, I'm aware.
are you also aware that there is a limitation to that right to culture provided within the very same constitution?
Yes,
I'd like you to read it out loud for the court.
yes, I'll read it. 24. Shall I read the whole of it?
No, read only. Read only 44.3.
44.3.
Yes.
It says that a person shall not compel another person to perform, observe, or undergo any cultural practice or rite.
Take us to Article 24.
24.
Yes. You relied on Article 24 in your petition.
Yes.
Now, under that article, do you acknowledge that there are rights that may be limited by the state?
Yes, yes.
And let's go to Article 25. What is the title of that article?
Fundamental rights and freedoms that may not be limited.
Now, kindly read A.
Freedom from torture and cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment.
B.
Freedom from slavery or servitude.
C.
A right to a fair trial.
D.
And a right to an order of habeas corpus.
Is the right to culture listed within those rights that may not be limited? Is it?
No,
You have
no,
read
it-
them out loud. Is it
Yes,
listed?
it's not listed here.
Okay, thank you. Now, kindly let us go to Article 55D. Article 55, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's read from the top. The state,
Shall take measures including affirmative action programs to ensure that the youth
D,
are protected, from harmful cultural practices and exploitation.
are you aware that in this country, we classify youth as persons between the ages of 18 to 35?
Yes, as according to the Constitution, yeah.
Now, are you aware that in Africa, FGM, in Africa as a whole, FGM has been recognized as a harmful cultural practice?
Yeah, mutilation, yes.
And do you agree with me that it is the duty of the state to protect women, marginalized community, the youth and the children from those very harmful cultural practices?
Yes, in a reasonable and justifiable manner.
That is okay, thank you. Are you aware that the state has an obligation to take active measures to legislate and limit those harmful cultural practices?
In a reasonable and justifiable manner.
A yes or no would be
A
sufficient.
reasonable and justifiable manner, according to 24. It's
That's
not outright.
wonderful. Dr. Kamau, you will have an opportunity to address the court. You have had your opportunity. Kindly limit yourself to yes and no answers. Are you aware that different communities, these 71 communities, Dr. Kamau, to which you refer, practice different cultural practices? They have different cultural practices.
Yes,
Are you aware?
yes, yes.
Before we go into the nitty-gritties of those, what is the source of this document for which you have referred the court?
It is the enumerator's manual from the census of 2009. The census of 2009, they're the ones which listed all these tribes and communities. And then from...
Very well,
Yeah.
that's enough. Where is that indicated in the document? Is it indicated in the document to which you have referred the court to?
The source is not... Okay, sorry, that is an omission if I have not said the source.
That's
Yeah.
all right. Now, are you aware of any other cultural practices that women from FGM practicing communities practice outside of FGM?
Gosh, there's so many.
For example,
Other than
FGM.
circumcision,
Yes.
yes,
FGM.
they don't mutilate. Yeah, thank you. They have so many cultures. I don't know. Sorry, I'm not clear about the question.
All right.
Mm.
I have asked you, I will ask the question again.
Yes,
Women within FGM practicing communities,
yes.
do they have other ways of cultural expression apart from FGM?
Yes, they do.
They do.
Mm.
Therefore, it is not correct for you to have stated to this court that to deny women the opportunity to undergo FGM, women who you have not presented to this court, whose documents you have not presented, it is not correct that those women have now been excluded completely from their culture. Isn't that correct? It is incorrect for you to state that. Shall I take it again?
That question is so convoluted that
Let me take it back.
It's so
It's fine. I
convoluted.
shall ask it differently. You have stated in your petition that women from FGM practicing communities are not able to participate in their cultural life because they have been denied FGM. Is that so?
with the protection of the court, I think it is not right for the state to tell communities, women, that you have 15 cultural activities that you can do, and we are going to block number 15. You should be happy with number 1 to 14 and continue as you please. Every one of them count for something.
Very well.
Yeah.
You prepared your petition?
Yes.
You have it?
Yes.
Take us to paragraph 17 of your petition.
Yes. I read.
Yes.
Yeah. The rights of willing women from communities that practice the now prohibited cultural ritual of female circumcision have been violated, denying them their cultural claim to respect and acceptance from
Stop
their...
right there. Thank you very much. So it is your contention that if a woman does not practice FGM, she cannot enjoy respect and acceptance from their loved ones and elders.
That is true.
Are you aware, Dr. Kamau, that culture changes?
Yes.
Culture is changing.
Yes, it's dynamic.
It is your contention to this court, it is your statement to this court that no culture is superior. Is that
Yes,
so?
yes.
And typically, in your experience as a doctor of 31 years at the Ministry of Health, working within communities,
Yes.
at what age is FGM carried out within these communities?
Typically, it is done under 18 years of age.
Very well, thank you.
Yes.
Now,
I am not contesting that.
That
My
is-
petition has got nothing to do with children.
Dr. Kamau, you did state to this court that in your expression of how FGM was carried out, or is carried out, that even after the procedure was carried out on the girls, no child, in your words, the children were not thrown away.
Yes, they were not thrown away.
Therefore, Dr. Kamau, you acknowledge that FGM is carried out on children in this country.
And they're protected under the Children's Act,
They are
which
also
I am not
protected under
contesting.
They are
I am-
also protected under the Prohibition of Female Genital Mutilation.
The Children's Act has never been
Dr. Kamau,
was
is it
stopped.
true or not true that FGM within the community, these 71 communities, is practiced on children or females under the age of 18 years?
and adults, women.
Which culture practices FGM on adults?
These are the women who did not undergo it in youth, now coming back in adulthood to get it done.
Which culture, Dr.
These
Kamau?
71. These 71. The 71
in the document for which you have not shown this court the source?
those ones.
Did you prepare this document in your own office?
Yes, I did.
Therefore, you have told this court, you do know that it is an offense to perjure yourself before this court. You have told this court that this document emanated from censors. Did you not?
Yes.
And you have just admitted that you prepared this document in your office.
Through the court, those are two different things. I said I sought reference from the enumerator's manual to get the list of all the tribes and communities in Kenya.
So who prepared the document?
Then from getting that list, I checked with other documents out of these tribes which one circumcise and which one do not circumcise.
So you prepared this document on your own?
Yes, I did. And that is the truth.
You created
and the whole truth.
And you placed it here. Where are the documents on which you sought reference to prepare this document?
I have them here, but I had not submitted them to the, I have not filed them
Very well.
in court.
We can move on. As a doctor,
I have the enumerator's manual. Yes?
Your Lordship, if I may, I would like to apply to have this document expunged from the record. The petitioner has indicated that she created the information in this document and she has not referenced the sources.
Your Honors, I also ask for protection because that might be one of the many documents which are in that bundle, and you cannot have the whole. Some of them are rulings. Some of them are rulings from the court.
Because there is a list on the front of which document that list.
Yes, Your Lordship. I'm referring to this list of tribes and ethnic groups.
The number 1.
In Kenya, yes, Your Lordship.
Are you able to tell us now categorically who is the author or what's the source?
I have this is the source, the 2009 Kenya Population and Housing Census for the list of the tribes. So they're authentic, the list, but this does not show who is a circumcised and who is not. That is my own research out of this list.
It's all right. Look at it.
Should I submit this to the court? Okay. Okay.
Dr. Kamau, I'd like us to talk about the issue of consent. Want to participate in that cultural right. Is that so?
Yes.
Now, for what reasons do these different communities, out of this, well, these different communities to whom you refer that nobody quite knows, do they practice FGM? What reasons? For what reasons do they practice FGM?
It's primarily for rite of passage, but for others it is religious reasons.
So which reasons are you? For which reason are you basing your allegation that FGM denies them the right to culture? On which reason are you basing your accusation?
According to my amended petition,
Yes.
if a woman is not circumcised, she does not, if she did not go through, especially the ones of rite of passage,
Yes.
if she did not go through that rite of passage,
That's all right.
she cannot be
That's
considered
okay.
respect.
That
She cannot,
is
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
So it is true that in communities that practice FGM, if you have not undergone FGM, you cannot be married. Is it true?
Yes. It's not an absolute truth.
All right.
There is delayed marriage
that
or
is
sometimes,
perfectly fine.
yes.
Thank you very much. Are they shunned by the community?
Yes.
And cultures, these cultures upon which you refer for that FGM ought to occur, if it was not done within their childhood, now they come back and do it in adulthood.
Yes.
Those cultures dictate that FGM be practiced upon young girls, right? Which
Yes.
is why when a woman has not undergone FGM, her marriage can be delayed. And that is why she seeks to have the cut. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, the Prohibition of Female Genital Mutilation Act specifies, it defines FGM. Is that so?
Yes.
What, do you have the act with you?
No, please lend me the act again. I left it where I was sitting.
No problem.
Yeah.
Now, kindly read the definition of FGM.
Comprises of all procedures involving partial or total removal of the female genitalia or other injury to the female genital organs, or any harmful procedure to the female genitalia for non-medical reasons, and includes clitoridectomy, which is the partial or total removal of the clitoris or the prepuce. B, excision, which is the partial or total removal of the clitoris and the labia minora, with or without excision of the labia majora. C, infibulation, which is the narrowing of the vaginal orifice with the creation of a covering seal by cutting and appositioning of the labia minora or the labia majora, with or without excision of the clitoris, but does not include a sexual reassignment procedure or a medical procedure that has genuine therapeutic purpose.
Now, Dr. Kamau, you have told this court that you are not aware of any medical procedure that is done on the female genitals in order to cure some mental illness or in order to have that has a therapeutic purpose. Is that correct?
No, not about the therapeutic purpose. Therapeutic purpose, I agree with.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Now,
But
you-
sex
would you agree with me?
reassignment is not
Dr.
therapeutic.
Kamau, I'm asking
Yeah.
the question.
Okay, thank you. I'm answering.
That's perfectly fine. You're welcome to continue. Now, is it true that this act only recognizes 3 forms of FGM?
Yes.
Therefore, the limitation and the prohibition of FGM is limited to those 3 types or forms of FGM. That is correct?
It's limited to these
Yes
3.
or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
No, Council, that is not a fair question. You're asking the good doctor to interpret the law.
Well, your Lordship,
You've asked her whether
yes.
the limitation is only on A, B. Sensitive matter
Yes.
are addressed. That should be addressed in your submissions as counsel. All right, because even if she says yes or no, what value?
It carries
Will
no
it do?
value because she's not an expert in that area.
Assignment procedure tells us that we are allowed to do a sexual reassignment procedure or a medical procedure which has genuine therapeutic purpose.
Very well.
Now, a sexual reassignment procedure,
Doctor,
yeah, okay, yes. So it's A, B, C plus the sexual reassignment procedure and the medical procedure.
Dr. Kamau, you have told this court that you practiced for 31 years at the Ministry of Health
Yes.
as a public health specialist.
Yes.
Did you carry out any of these surgeries?
Public health is not about clinical
Thank
medicine.
Thank you. Are you aware that there are medical benefits to male circumcision?
Yes.
Are there any medical benefits that you can tell this court to female circumcision?
Yes. There is hygiene.
But Dr. Kamau, are you aware that there are adverse effects on women who have had FGM performed upon them?
A few, yes.
A few.
A few, yes. Just like male circumcision, there are a few boys who have lost their penises and who have had severe illnesses. All have,
produced any documentation in support of that assertion?
yes, in this thing. Sorry, here, These are all the terrible things that happen to men.
Your Lordship, this document to which the petitioner is referring was not introduced in her affidavit, and therefore I will be asking to have this document expunged from the record as well.
Where is it coming from?
Huh?
It's attached to what?
These, my, it's about allowing men, boys to,
it's introduced by which document of yours, or which paragraph? Because you say I have said this, and I annex the document marked as this.
let me just find it where we say that men are allowed. um, 22, 22 about the gender equality.
Pardon?
It's with reference to paragraph 22 in my petition. The petitioner contends that the act has created distress within some communities by overtly favoring the cultural practices of one gender against the practices of the other gender.
You have not referred to document in that paragraph.
No.
Because she's giving her evidence with a watching, you can just examine her for use. You're supposed to state your point in your affidavit and then say that is refer to where now it can be found. But you see, you just brought documents that are hanging in the air. That's why you're giving us trouble now.
Okay.
You know how we come in. Because you don't just have an affidavit, then collect all documents. Each point must be speaking to a specific annexure. But you will not come to them as such, but because she's giving watch evidence, could you just go on? Then we'll see what probative value comes with.
Dr. Kamau, did you prepare any of the documents in that bundle?
In this one?
Yes. Did you prepare any documents
Prepare.
in that bundle? The one you used?
No, no, I didn't. I didn't.
Thank you.
These are all.
Now, Dr. Kamau, you are not an OBGYN, but you have testified to this court that in medical school you learned, you had in general practice you have interacted with various forms of medical ailments, for example.
Yes.
Can you tell us about some of the adverse effects of FGM?
Yes, there are poor control of bleeding, poor control of pain, poor control of infection.
Okay. Now, tell us about the adverse effects of FGM after, years later perhaps, that FGM survivors go through as a result of having gone through FGM. Can you tell us about those effects?
Generally, most of them, if it went well, do not have any adverse events. And that is part of my personal practice, having worked in Garissa, in Dadaab refugee camp, where the community is almost 98% circumcised women.
Which community is that?
The Somali community.
And which type of FGM do they practice?
They practiced, at that time, 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
Yes.
And can you describe to this court, as vividly as you can, what type 2 FGM looks like and what type 3 FGM looks like?
Okay. Type 2 FGM, circumcision. Type. Yes, I'm being entangled in the terminology. Type 2 female circumcision is generally about reducing the size of the labia minora, which are inside the labia majora. So it gives a sort of a flush appearance on the external genitalia. Type 3 gives is reducing of the labia minora, and also stitching together of the labia minora, which gives a doll-like appearance to the external genitalia. In fact, it's described like a Barbie doll. You know, a Barbie doll has got no genital features.
Okay.
Yes.
So the type of FGM practiced in the community that you worked in resulted in female genitalia that had no female genitalia
Appearance.
at all.
Yes, and
And
that is
there
the
was
desire
no-
of the
and there were-
community.
And there are no complications that arose from that type of FGM. That is
No,
your
you do
testimony.
get in a few. You do get in a few. That one I will attest to. But the vast majority, I did not have any problem delivering them. Yeah.
But you are not an OBGYN. And therefore, you do not intimately interact, you did not in your practice, intimately interact with all forms of women's issues involving childbirth, for example, involving perhaps even this sexual reassignment procedures. Is that correct?
For the period that I worked there, I was technically the OBGYN because there was none other.
But
So
as a
on a
public
day-to-day basis, that was my job, delivering women and attending to their gynecological and obstetric issues.
As a public health officer.
Yes, as a
Okay,
public
that's
health
enough.
issue,
That's
no,
enough.
no,
Thank
officer,
you.
no.
Thank you. Now, we're coming to the end of this. Is it true that if women from FGM practicing communities understood the kind of risks that they took undergoing FGM, they would not opt for FGM?
No, that is not true.
Okay.
That is not true.
Now, is it true also in your experience that regardless of where FGM is performed, the effects, the after effects of FGM remain the same?
No, that is not true.
Regardless, the procedure is, the effects do not remain the same.
You see, there are two questions in one.
Okay. Let me take the questions again.
Yeah.
Is it true that regardless of where FGM is performed, taking out the entire external female genitalia of a woman would have the same effect, whether done now, wherever it is done, regardless of where?
Oh, no, that is not true because...
Okay. That's enough, thank you.
That is not true.
That is not true. Now, you have stated in your petition that FGM is part of our national heritage. Is that true?
Yes.
Now, have you provided any evidence to this court to show that FGM is part of our national heritage?
Yes, the one which you want expunged. Huh? It shows that the majority of women in this country used to practice, but there were about 60% of the communities used to practice female circumcision.
Where do you get that statistic from?
From the research that I've done on all these communities.
Your personal research. Have you produced that research before this court?
Why are you discrediting my research?
No, have you produced it?
Why are you discrediting
The
it?
question is not...
No,
You
I stand by it.
Have you
Yes, it's my
published it?
personal one. Huh? Yeah.
Just listen to the question, the one that you can answer.
Yes, it is my personal research.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then she has the right to ask you any further questions after that.
Okay, it is my personal research
Have you produced that research before this court?
in this document.
A research paper produced by yourself is within this bundle?
Yes.
Kindly take us to that.
It is
specific
that list, number 1.
The list that you initially claimed came from census. This list?
Yes,
is your
that
research
list. The research part is what is in green and yellow and orange. That is my part. The rest is extracted from the census.
Have you yes, I have very, just like 5, 6 questions. Yeah. I apologize. Have you provided any evidence to this court to show that women from FGM practicing communities who have undergone FGM are still able to function biologically? In your
As part
petition,
of my petition,
Yes.
yes, I have said that they are
You have said
biologically yes.
Very well, you
yes.
have said it. Have
yes.
you produced any evidence or any documentation in support of
Yes,
that?
in
Any
this,
studies?
from the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey,
Yes.
I have attached all the documents showing that they are the most fertile in this country. Yes, they have the highest parity. Huh?
Okay, thank you. Now, let us talk very briefly about the legislative process. Are you aware that the Constitution of Kenya grants power to the people of Kenya?
Absolutely.
And are you aware that the power to legislate on behalf of the people of Kenya is granted to Parliament?
Yes, it is.
And that Parliament exercises that legislative authority on behalf of Kenyans?
Yes.
Very well. Now, you've talked about the anti-FGM board, the second respondent.
Yes.
Would you agree with me that the anti-FGM board, the second respondent in this matter, is created under statute or the Prohibition of Female Genital Mutilation
Yes.
Act?
Yes.
And their functions are spelled out in that act, right?
Yes,
You
but they are
refer us
also
to them.
guided by Article 10 of the Constitution.
Very well, thank you.
Mm.
But you have read to this court actually the functions within that
Yes,
act, correct?
yes, yes.
State organs and the state is bound by the law, is that correct?
Yes.
All public officers, state organs, state officers are bound by the law, that's correct? Is that correct?
They are bound to the law to the extent that they follow Article 10
Very
and
well,
they do
thank
not
you.
do any hate speech. Yes.
There is an exclusion in law for hate speech within the Prohibition of Female Genital Mutilation Act.
They're allowed to do hate speech.
No, I'm asking you.
They're not allowed.
Very well.
They're not allowed.
Thank you, that is all.
Am I also allowed to comment in summary? It's almost 1.
Whether they should undergo the procedure or not. Somebody else decides for them, confirm that. Either the community or the...
Can I have also because some of these things, I am not contesting the Children's Act, and I am aware that children are protected under the
Yes,
Children's
confirm,
Act.
just confirm.
So are you able to answer the
Yes,
question?
I confirm that the majority are done under 18.
And you confirm that it is either the parents or the community which decides on their behalf.
Yes, with love and respect for their children.
Yes. Please confirm also to the court that FGM is an medical procedure.
It is a cultural process.
A cultural process. It is a cultural intervention and not medical intervention.
Yes, it is a cultural intervention.
You seem to have a concern on the excesses. You want a limitation. You don't want the culture to be abolished. Is that correct?
Yes. For adults.
And you say it generally. You are happy to correct
For
me.
adults. My whole petition is about adults, please.
And being a medical doctor, let's go back to Section 2 of the Prohibition of FGM Act. Type 8